Howdy, folks. Quick impromptu update. Various news came out today. GDP forecast, sort of preliminary number, the jobs number, and the ECB rates hike announcement, 0.25%, bringing it up to 4.25. But the press conference, Lagarde, the ECB president, thereafter said something very interesting, that they would not be raising rates for sure going ahead, and that it would be data dependent. Sorry about the dogs in the background. And that had a big impact on the market. It's not usual that what the ECB comes up with has any effect on the market, but it did. And we've seen before all of that, we saw NASDAQ and S&P rally up a bit. We'll have a look at those. But a couple of things are moving around on the charts, and we'll start with natural gas. Look at this move down right through the top of that channel, and very bearish on natural gas, a huge 4-hour candle coinciding with what was said by the ECB. A lot of things came off, gold as well. Natural gas has now broken into this downward sloping channel that we'd broken out of. We wanted to hold above these moving averages here, the 20 period, the 50 and the 200. We've broken beneath all of them and the channel top, going back down into these zones here. I'm long from $2.51, a half size position. I still remain bullish on this overall, but I'll be looking for opportunities to add to that half size position the lower we get. And actually somewhere around about 251, where I originally got in, is a good area. If we can hold above this pink zone here, we really want to hold above $2.40. And that's the rising channel line at the bottom here. So let's see, we're going to play this by ear, see how these 4-hour candles look at the end of the day, how this day closes out. So that's natural gas coming right back in. Crude oil still going up. Still bullish on crude. We're not in this, unfortunately, but we're holding up well above the 200 and this downward trend line, heading up into this area, probably around $80 to $84. We're just below $80 now. Actually, just touched $80. It's a bit of a round number resistance. Also the top of this gap. So if we can get up through 80 and hold through there, then obviously this green line at around $84, the top of that range, and then I expect we'll get a bit of a pullback, but we're not in that, unfortunately. We only got about half of that move. Bitcoin not moving, actually, along with the, you'd expect Bitcoin to move in sync somewhat with stocks and the dollar. Stocks have rallied today, coming off a bit now. Bitcoin has not moved, barely moved at all, holding up above that sort of 50-period moving average. We were short sort of from the top here at this trend line, at this horizontal break down through the support level. And we covered half of our shorts at this 50-period moving average, still holding half, looking to move down to about 28,000 and then possibly 25,000 where this green line is. But that hasn't moved today at all, surprisingly, because everything else has moved. Looking at gold, gold has come back in again, but I'm still bullish on gold, and I think these are opportunities to buy. We're long from 1919, so $1,919. We're at 1947. So our long position is still well in the money, but it has come off, bouncing down off that resistance level and near the top of this, near the bottom of this rising channel line. So not looking great for gold. And well, anyway, we're long from around about 1920. 1919 to be precise. We'd like to hold above this green line, this sort of green support band. Let's see how we go on gold. But if you're not long on gold, you might consider adding or getting into a small long position here. Watch the 4-hour and hourly candles for reversal signs and whatever system you use to trigger your entries. And then going across the stocks, well, we saw NASDAQ, S&P actually right across the board here. Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft dropping back a bit. Apple, a bit of a peak up, a bit of a gap high back above this trend line, and then falling back down. Nvidia just gapping up a wee bit, hasn't moved since then, but mainly just looking at these indices. NASDAQ, quite a big move up. We're about 1.5% at one point today at 15,800. We've dropped back down to 15,700. I still think that if we don't get above here at 15,900, we'll call it 16,000. If we don't get above there and we make a reversal candle today, form a nice clear reversal candle, and perhaps even break down or touch this 20-period moving average, my target for NASDAQ is around about 14,000 500, this first red line here, and that's a major support line going back some time. That's down here, this level here. That support there is a key level. You can see stretching all the way back into 2021. That level there is my target. It's in between the 50 and the 100-day moving averages. I pointed out something on Twitter regarding S&P. Even in a strong bull market rally, the S&P often pulls back to the 50-period moving average time and time again. That's this red line moving up here. In this big bull run during 2021, look how many times we pulled back to the 50-period moving average, even though it was an incredibly bullish move all the way up for, from, 2,600 up to 4.5. But we pulled back many times to the 50-period moving average, sometimes to the 100, which is this gray black line here. Right now, we've got loads of space to pull back to this 50 MA, and that would take us down to about 4,400. We're at 4,500 and just below 4,600 actually. No real resistance above us until we get up to this high here at about 4,640, and then it's the all-time highs and a couple of resistance levels just below there, 4,750, and then all the way up into 4,820. But for now, we need some pullbacks. We need to get some. I think we might be going up to new all-time highs on all the stocks and stock indices. A lot of the tech stocks have already done that this year, but the indices haven't. I think we could, believe it or not, whatever you think of the markets, that looks like the way we're going at the moment. But we need to get some pullbacks to the 50-period moving average. Today we rushed up to 4,600, just sort of peeking through it, 4,606, and we've dropped back down again. If we can form a nice reversal candle today or tomorrow, or this week could form a sort of wick high week, we could get a pullback that we're looking for. We're not looking for it to move all the way down into a bear market. At this stage, I can just go with what I'm seeing on the charts, despite the economy, despite everything falling apart around us. ECB today actually just showing that they cannot continue to hike rates. This is and we've seen terrible numbers coming out of the EU. We're seeing weakness in the European Union, and we're seeing a hesitation there in the rate hike scenario, and some worry creeping in quite significantly into that scenario. And I know what happens in the US gets transferred across to the EU at some stage. It's America, sneezes, Europe catches a cold, wherever it is. But it's also the other way around, and we're seeing that Europe is in trouble. And we've just seen the euro collapse. We'll have a look at that shortly, and the dollar strengthened dramatically as a result. Could that strength in the dollar push these markets down for a pullback to the 50-period moving average on the S&P? So it would be around about 4,400. We're at 4.6 now. Let's see how these daily candles shape up. That's the S&P right now, and Nasdaq is also potentially starting to look like a bit of a top forming. We still haven't broken above that high a few days ago on Nasdaq, and that is starting to fall back down quite sharply from the high that we made after peaking up today. Let's see how we go. Big rally today, 1.5%, but falling back at least a third of that so far. So that's stocks. We're seeing a bit of weakness in Nvidia, as I said, gapped up, hasn't moved. Apple gapped up tiny bit, but just falling back down to that trend line, which has been broken already. Are we going to break it again today? Microsoft looking quite weak. We're short on all of these, actually. We're not short on AMD. We're not short on Tesla. We're not short on Google or any of those, just the ones that you see on the screen here. And then just going to have a look at the euro and the pound. Look at the euro. Just collapsed after the ECB signaled weakness in Europe. The inability to continue to raise rates. I don't think they're going to raise further this year. We're going to be stuck at 4.25. The US is going to be stuck at 5.25 for the rest of this year at least. That means the US is going to be a full percentage point higher than the European zone for the rest of this year at least, unless something else catastrophic goes on and one of them starts cutting. I don't think they will. We're going to see strength in the dollar, I guess. And we're seeing Europe in peril, more so than the US. It's going to put a lot of pressure on the euro, a lot of pressure on the pound. We're going to see these currencies potentially come off against the dollar, and we've seen the start of that today with a massive move down, and the pound also moving down. Now that's dragging some of these yen crosses down with them. You can see the dollar yen has rallied, but the euro yen coming down today. The pound yen, not much, but a little bit. Swiss franc yen coming in. Aussie dollar yen coming in, and CAD yen, well, in alignment with the US dollar yen, just moving up a wee bit. But that's because the US dollar will tend to drag the Canadian dollar up with it. That's where we stand at the moment. You don't find it difficult? Well, you'll be one of very few who are not finding this market extremely tough. That's what I think overall. So just in summary, perhaps opportunities to buy natural gas a little bit low down. Let's look for a 4-hour reversal candle. That's all you need to do. Wait for every 4-hour rollover. Let's see how that candle looks. I'll try and update a little bit later on today. WTI, we've got nothing on any of these commodities. We're short on Bitcoin, which has barely moved today. If anything, a little bit down. Gold, well, let's see how that goes. We're long on gold from 1919 and we're at 1945 now. So let's see if we can get that, finding support where we are at the moment. And then, URA, we're in URA long. That's the uranium ETF. We're long on that, and we'll see how that goes. This pink line support, it seems to be pretty good, so I'm not worried about that one. A little bit worried about gold. Platinum, I've got a tiny short, long position on platinum. That's fallen down again as well. NASDAQ and S&P, well, let's see how these go. I want to see how this day closes out. If we can get some good reversal candles, there's good hope, particularly now that the dollar is showing some strength because of the Eurozone seemingly in deep trouble. The dollar's showing strength generally all around, and that should also put pressure on stocks. So far so good, actually, looking the way these charts are looking at the moment. We want to see some of these key tech stocks begin to follow suit. Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Google, AMD, Tesla, etc., etc. And then the yen pairs, well, the European yen pairs, the euro, the pound, Swiss, etc., even the Aussie coming off again. So in other words, yen strength against those, but not on the dollar, the US dollar and Canadian dollar. We're actually short across the board on all of these, absolutely belting down, along with the pound. Pound not so much, actually. Euro's made new lows, the pound hasn't. Dollar yen moving up, not as dramatically as the euro's moved down. So the euro is the one that's showing weakness. And that's all I've got to say. If you have a look at the day charts on this, there's the euro, big move down. There's no instant recovery from this. It's going to carry on lower, I would imagine. Same thing with the pound, although that one is showing a bit more resilience. Let's see if the euro is going to drag the pound down. Then we've got the dollar yen and the euro yen just falling down, not as much as the euro is falling against the dollar, because the yen is still showing some weakness. That's the overall summary. Sorry about the croaky voice and the rush, but that's just want to get that out to you. Take care. If you enjoy this content, please subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up and a like. I've got to get back to trading. Enjoy your trading day. Take care, and I'll speak to you again soon.